Hey everyone, Teresa here. Welcome back to my channel, Lost My Thread. Today is an exciting day because it is the finale of my latest Clash of the Patterns series, the Troublesome T-shirt Tussle. I always get really excited and impatient at the end of these series because I want to try the thing on once I've made it. When I make a thing, I put it on, I see how it looks, and then I can decide whether I like it or I don't. But I don't let myself do that when I'm making these videos because I want to make sure that when I'm doing part 3 and I'm talking about the sewing process, that I'm not influenced by what the finished garments look like. So I'm going to be trying them on for you guys and get to see what they finally look like, and I get to tell you who is the winner of the Troublesome T-shirt Tussle. Now, if you haven't watched the other videos, I would definitely recommend doing that. It's going to make a whole lot more sense. I will pop a link to that so that you can check it out. But I did tell you in part 1 what the different t-shirts that I'm making are all about and the fabrics that I chose and why. In the second video, I talked about what you get for those patterns, what the best value for money is, size, range, different varieties that you get with the t-shirts as well. For that one, the gable top was sitting at the top and the Concord tee was in the middle and the classic tee by Love Notions was at the bottom. Then in part 3, I talked to you about what the sewing was like, so how satisfying they were to put together, what the finish was like, how the instructions were. And at the end of that one, the leaderboard was sitting the same. So the gable top by Jennifer Lauren Handmade was still at the top. The Concord, I can never say this, Cashmerette, too many C's. Cashmerette Concord tee was in second place, and at the bottom was the Love Notions Classic tee. So I'm going to be interested to see what these are like on me because it's going to be probably the most important factor in all honesty. I think all of these things would influence how likely I am to make these things in the future, but it would be good to see which ones I actually prefer the look of on. So I'm going to be putting them on one by one, and I feel like it makes the most sense to actually just show you what they look like. So I'll be filming, showing you the different details, and hopefully you can get a feel for why I like the things that I do and why I don't like some of the details that I don't like as well. And then I will tell you who I think the winner of this whole Clash of the Patterns series is. Alright, this is the gable top, which was the top of the leaderboard. So the gable top by Jennifer Lauren Handmade. First impressions, it's pretty wonderful. I kind of love it. So I have tucked it in. I'm not a tucker of shirts in general. I don't usually tuck them in. I will say this will be really good for tucking into overalls because it is a really good one for tucking. But yeah, I don't tend to wear things tucked in, but I'm doing it for a reason because I wanted you to see what it looks like to give you just a general impression. But if I can show you, if I untuck it, it is very, very long. Like really long, but also it's really tight over the hip area. So can you see, like, this is the bottom of my bum. You probably can't get it on the screen, but it's a very long, I mean, it's a style, like some people might like it, but I feel like it's super tight across my tummy and my hip area. If you remember, I actually sized up on the hip because I felt like the negative ease looking at the finished garment measurements, it was quite a bit smaller than my actual hip. And I knew that this was still smaller than my hip, but I didn't want to go too nuts because I felt like I don't want to change it too much from the intended design because I want to try and stick to it somewhat. But I did one size bigger on the hip than my measurements put me into, and I would definitely size up the hip again. At least one size. I mean, I don't mind it being tight, but this is just kind of unflatteringly tight is what I would say. Now I want to show you some more of the details because that's kind of from, I guess, the hip down. I think the waist area was fine because when it was tucked in it looked absolutely fine. But I'll show you the neckline. I think the neckline looks pretty good. The only thing I will say is I feel like it's slightly long for my shoulders. I might need to shorten this shoulder section. And the other thing is, I think on the whole it fits pretty well across the bust. Like, I'm quite happy with that. There's none of that funny old bunching or anything like that. But I do feel like there's quite a lot of fabric up here. Looking at it on here, maybe it's not so much. Maybe I was just imagining that. I feel like it's a pretty good fit. I love the neckline. I think it is really beautiful detail. Now remember I said you can lower this down. She gives you instructions of lowering it down if you don't like it the way that it is. The sleeves, I would say, are good. I wouldn't mind them even being a little bit tighter, but they're not too bad. And my hems are not curling up. I'm calling that luck with the fabric that I have. I do think this is great fabric for this top, so I'm really happy with my choice there. It is comfortable. Like I said, it's overall pretty good. My first impressions are that I like it, but I'm not thrilled with the fit around this hip area. Kind of bunch it up. Does that do anything? Not doing a whole lot, let's be honest, and I don't feel like you should have to do that. So lots of good. If I made it again, and I will want to make this one again, I'll just size up at the hip and maybe take in the shoulders a tiny bit. And then I think it's pretty spot on. I think it's a really beautiful top, and I think it's got a lot going for it. It's really nice and feminine, and I think it's overall a winner. This one is going to be worn plenty. Don't worry, guys. All right, now we've got black on black, so I know it's going to be really difficult to see what's going on. Hopefully I can show it to you guys, and I will talk you through what I'm seeing. So this is fully untucked. I really like the length of this one, so I would say like my waist is up here, fullest part of my hip is here, and it's actually round about the fullest part of my waist, or fullest part of my hip. It's just a tiny bit shorter than that. That is a really good length for me for something that I'm not tucking in, but I can tuck it and it still would be comfortable. The overall fit of this is pretty impeccable, I must say. So it is tighter across the bust area to give you good shape and fit around there, but I still have some room around the hip, which I like. So there's a little bit more movement. It's not as clingy as the other one, so I feel like it gives a better silhouette. I love the shape of it. I feel like oftentimes when I make tops that go in at the waist and out at the hip, they don't necessarily go in and out where my body does, and this one really, really does, which is pretty amazing. As far as the hem, I really love that thick hem. Don't know if you can see it, but I think that's a really good style, and I love that it's a slightly thicker one on the sleeve. This sleeve detail is just so cute. Really like it. The sleeve's a little bit tighter, and I prefer the fit of this sleeve actually. I like that it's a little bit tighter. I feel like that's more comfortable and a little bit more kind of flattering as well. Now as far as the fit closer up, let's go and have a look. So if you remember the neckband, I was a little bit worried that it was going to look a bit ripply because it did when I wasn't wearing it. I think it's better. I think it's pretty amazing actually on me. The shoulders, I almost feel like this one maybe I could take the shoulders out a tiny bit because it's a little bit narrow for me, but that's pretty good. And again, great fit over the bust area. I don't feel like I've ever had a top that fits me so well up here and here. I usually have to go for either fits here too big here or vice versa, especially like I'm talking a fitted t-shirt type top. This is kind of mind-blowing how well this fits in the bust area. It's really good. It's really good. I'm pretty excited about the shape and the silhouette of this one, the fit of this. I'm really excited to see with all different styles because this was the one that had longer, shorter versions, had different sleeve options. I kind of feel like this is looking like a really good contender for my new favorite t-shirt. The sleeves, like I said, I will just take the shoulders out a little. It's a little bit narrow for me where that seam is, but that's a minor thing. That's not too bad. So far, two definite great tops that I'm looking forward to wearing a lot. Let's see the third one. The classic tee by Love Notions. I don't want to give the whole game away right away, but I imagine you're probably feeling a little bit of what I'm feeling. This is not a great shirt for me. I'm sure it's a great shirt for some people, but it does not work well for my silhouette and my body shape. I don't like the way that this overall fits and sits on me. So this one I knew was going to be bigger because it had positive ease all over, whereas the other ones had more negative ease, particularly in the bust area. So this one I knew was going to be a little bit looser, but I feel like it's not like it's just a bit oversized. It feels like it's too big. What my feeling kind of looking at it when I put it on is, I feel like I'm a little kid who's put on my mom's t-shirt. You know when you like put on your mom's t-shirt for bed and it was like a nightgown on you because it's a bit big? That was just me. But I feel like this doesn't fit me in a way that looks really strange. I think the proportions of it are definitely a bit off for my body. So first of all, just the overall size of the bottom of this, I think is fine. Like I've had plenty of things that were this loose at the bottom, and I don't think that's necessarily the whole issue, though it is quite big, I will say. It's also a little bit long. You know, just as a relative to my body, I preferred where the Concord tee sat, which was probably another like, I don't know, 2-3 inches higher than this one. And as far as the fit around the waist, I mean, it's massive. You can't see my waist. I do have a waist in there. And this is the kind of thing that I've often found with ready to wear, is that if I'm trying to fit my upper and my wider parts of me, the middle just gets somewhat swamped. It doesn't really fit there. This is a drapey fabric, so I thought it would be okay. And, you know, I don't think it's terrible in that area, you know, relative, but I just feel like the whole silhouette is looking a bit oversized. Around the bust area, I mean, it fits me because it's just giant, you know? It fits me like wearing a t-shirt that's too big, which is something that I've done plenty of times in my life. I think the sleeves, again, they're just a bit big in a way that I feel like looks a bit strange. I feel like the length of them and this kind of floppiness of them feels like it doesn't make a whole lot of sense. The neckline, I think, is an odd depth. I feel like you'd almost want it a little bit more plungy if it's going to be a bit of a plungy neck, or just a bit higher. It kind of sits a bit weird on me. I think a lot of this honestly is my frame, and I feel like this is just not a top that suits my frame. I really don't love this one, and I feel like it's probably going to be relegated to pajamas. I don't feel like I'm going to get away with wearing this or feel comfortable wearing this. Maybe under overalls, because I can kind of hide it under there, but we'll see. Which is a shame, because I love the fabric and I love the color, but it's not a great shirt for me. So a bit of a thumbs down on this one. So I feel like all along this whole process, there has been one top that has sat a bit more at the bottom, which is the classic tee by Love Notions. And unfortunately today, it turned out it definitely is just not the top for me. I don't think that's going to be for everyone across the board. And I think for a lot of people, depending on the size of your frame, your shape, your overall silhouette, I think it can be quite different. But I just know for me that that's not one that I'm going to be reaching for in the future. And it's good to know that, you know, you need to learn what you don't like as much as learning what you do like. The gable top and the Concord tee have both been kind of neck and neck all throughout this, and I feel like they're both pretty great options as far as like a fitted knit top. I think the gable tee is just a different style from the Concord, and depending on what style you like, they're going to be, you know, different options for you. The gable top does go to a smaller bust cup option as well, so depending on your size, you may or may not be able to make the Concord tee in your size, and I think that's just worth noting. But overall, I think for me, for my own body shape, for my own style that I like and the silhouette that I like, it's probably pretty obvious, but for me, the winner of this challenge has got to be the Concord tee by Cashmerette. I will say I'm going to be making lots of gable tops, but the Concord tee just ticks every single box as far as being exactly what I want in a t-shirt pattern. I really look forward to hacking the heck out of this shirt. I'm going to be making different shirt versions. I'm going to be making dress versions. I'm going to see if I can throw like a, you know, a cowl neck maybe, or a turtleneck even on there, because I feel like there's just so much going with this top that I want to try and make it my all-time T&T t-shirt pattern. I really hope that all of you enjoyed watching along this series. It's one of my favorite things that I do on this channel. I know that a lot of you really enjoy it as well. I would love to hear what you thought about the different tops and the silhouettes on me, the shapes on me. If you are inspired to try any of these tops yourself, if you've made them in the past, it's really fun to hear what all of you think about the tops, particularly now that I've made them, and you can give me your honest feedback because it's always really useful to have. I have loads of videos coming up because I am planning to do Vlogmas, one video every day in December, and I have quite a few things that I really want to get out to you before I get to that point. So I'm going to try and just like power through and chuck out loads of videos. So please do make sure you're subscribed to my channel if you want to see more of what I'm making, and I will see you all again very, very soon. Bye!